is more important than foresight, deal-making, or recruiting top-notch teams. Entrepreneurs don't need unique ideas and venture funding. Rather, they must be able to adapt quickly to changing business conditions. Maybe that sounds radical, or more like common sense, but it's easy to forget and overlook, especially for eager entrepreneurs in the thick of starting their own company. That was me in 2002, when I came across a small book summarizing a Harvard study about why so many small businesses fail. The book highlighted a lot of reasonable advice, like the importance of knowing your industry, being able to identify the competition, doing what you love, and the value of being well capitalized. I devoured every word in the many case studies, but my first-hand experience was about to refute all the conclusions of those Harvard academics. I was about to discover that knowledge of your industry or even of your competition is not important, because the day you start your company is the day it changes. I was also about to learn that companies don't succeed because you are doing what you love or even what you are good at. Yes, being well capitalized is essential, but the amount of money you start with doesn't make the defining difference either. A few weeks after I read the Harvard book, I had the privilege of meeting with George Rathman, who Forbes magazine once called the Bill Gates of biotechnology. Dr. Rathman was chairman of a company called Scepter, and he wanted to hire me as VP of Commercial Development. I had already had my winning idea, but I was struggling to raise the necessary capital. Over dinner, and purely out of curiosity, Rathman asked about my company, and when I started to wax lyrical about my business plan and why its structure would give my startup a better chance of survival, he held up a hand to silence me. He said, "You do not know what business you are in until you get into the business. Just get started and adapt from there." It is the best piece of advice I have ever gotten. Soon after, we agreed to a mutually beneficial arrangement. I worked 2 days a week for Scepter, and for the other 3 days, I used the same office for free to execute my winning idea. Sadly, George Rathman passed away in 2012 at the age of 84, but I can hear his voice in my head every time I meet a potential entrepreneur wielding a 100-page business plan. The secret to success isn't in the plan. It's in the person holding it. Part 1. Starting. The Global Pioneering Spirit. "Begin at the beginning," the king said very gravely, "and go on till you come to the end. Then stop." Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Are you tempted to withdraw your savings, staple a resignation note to your boss's forehead, and walk away from the corporate world forever? Does the thought of never having to sit through another one of those dumb company meetings, you know the ones, where everything that can be said has been said, but not everyone around the table has said it yet, make you tizzy with excitement? Or perhaps you have been postponing your dream of starting your own business, maybe for decades as you focused on other priorities like raising a family, and find that you don't want to postpone it any longer? Maybe the kids have flown the nest, you are at a loose end, and you desire to fulfill the potential you've always known you have. If so, you are not alone. Every month in America, more than 500,000 people start a company, the majority being unregistered single-person ventures, with 69% of all startups beginning at home. In 2018, however, 670,000 new companies were registered in the United States alone. Women are majority owners of 40% of all the registered companies. Various studies conclude between 25 and 45%. Further, according to a 2014 University of Phoenix Business School survey, some 39% of employees hope to own their own business. Contrary to what many in the media would have us believe, the statistics clearly show that the pioneer spirit in America is alive and well. These are happy statistics that fill us with hope for the American dream. Or maybe running one's own business is a universal dream. According to research, more than 50 million new businesses are started globally every year. Of course, numbers per country vary widely, and getting an accurate number is a bit of a lottery. Iceland was home to about 8,000 new businesses, and India to about 85 million startups. Tel Aviv's startup ecosystem is one of the most highly developed in the world. Israel has more startups per capita than any other country, and its startups